Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Kyle Downey, and this is the Sports Download, the show where a Los Angeles native talks sports from a fan's perspective. I might not be unbiased, but I keep it honest and real with you. So, got a lot to get to today. There's a lot of news going on in sports, in NBA and stuff like that, but I want to continue the conversation from the last video talking about the Sparks and the WNBA. So, I want to try to cover them while we're in summer right now. They're playing. This is summer hoops. The WNBA season's going on, and it's an LA-based show here, so I'm gonna talk about the Sparks. Their second place, I discovered that they could have tanked. They could have tanked going into this season, but they chose to win, and they seem to be competitive with the new GM Karen Bryant and the new head coach Kurt Miller, and they're in second place right now. They just beat the Dallas Wings a couple of days ago. And yeah, so 9 games in, they got like 31 to go. It's a 40-game season. So let's see how that transpires. I mean, so far they're looking competitive, which is good because in a city like LA, you want to be competitive. And Nneka Ogwumike and Chiney Ogwumike and all the people, all the ladies on the team are gonna want to be competitive and want to win. So it's good, especially in a city like LA, we can attract free agents because, let's face it, some of the best weather in the country. So yeah, second place, I think they're looking pretty solid. Their next game, they are going to play the Minnesota Lynx, who are now currently, they're only 2-7, so it looks like a team that they should beat. Hopefully that they can get the win. And yeah, so the Sparks are in the playoff contention right now. Love that. Their next game is against the Lynx, as I mentioned, Friday today. By the time this video drops, they are playing tonight at 7 o'clock on YouTube Premium or WNBA League Pass, which hopefully they can get some more of these games on mainstream television so that more people could watch. Just as a side note, that's my opinion. And speaking of the WNBA, I want to recognize 2 legends that recently retired. Are Sylvia Fowles. Sylvia Fowles. She just recently retired. Had her jersey retirement last weekend, and so did the legendary Sue Bird in Seattle. So Sylvia Fowles had her jersey retired in Minnesota. She played for the Lynx. So she played for Chicago, but she played for the Lynx for a lot of her career from 2016 to 2022. If y'all don't know, she averaged 15.7 points a game, 9.8 rebounds, and 1 assist in her career. And she retired as a league leader in rebounding. Excuse me. She has the most rebounds ever in the league. 6'6", played center. Really great career. Congrats to her. Let me see more nuggets if y'all don't know. She was 2017 MVP and 8-time All-Star, 2-time WNBA champ. So, hell of a career. Congratulations to her, and she deserves all the accolades. And I thought it was pretty funny. One of her teammates was like, yeah, she stole, I think it was Rebecca Brunson, was saying, she stole some rebounds from me. And then Sylvia points at her, well, you stole some rebounds from me too. They put it on the not top 10 on SportsCenter, but I thought it was pretty funny. So congratulations to Sylvia Fowles. And congratulations to Sue Bird. She's also retiring. She played her whole career with the Seattle Storm, averaging 11.7 points per game, 2.5 rebounds, and 5.6 assists. 13-time All-Star and a 4-time WNBA champ. And one of the like legendary players. Like, even if you don't know that much about women's basketball, you know the names of Sue Bird, and you know her name, and you know like Diana Taurasi, but that's one of the reasons why I want to be talking about women's basketball, because I want more people to know, I want more people to check it out, because these women are really good, really great athletes, and very skilled and fun to watch, and they deserve more love and more attention, and all that. So congrats to Sue. She's 42 years old, played 19 seasons, and just class act. It was cool. She strolled in with her green suit. She got her jersey retired in Seattle. So congratulations to Sylvia Fowles and Sue Bird, two legends of the women's game, and just congrats to them. I mean, they're also Olympic gold winners as well. So congrats to them. Enjoy retirement, and look forward to see what your careers look like next. What's the next stage in the next chapter? Look forward to seeing that. And all right, so also in the WNBA, I wanted to mention that they should expand the rosters. So I was talking to my wife the other day, and I mentioned to her that the Sparks had drafted this young lady, Monica Sanano, from Iowa. She was coming out of Iowa. They had that good run, and they lost in the tournament in the final championship game. But she got cut. The Sparks drafted her, and she got cut shortly after. And then I did a little research and realized that this is a common thing. I was listening to the Queens of the Court podcast with Jordan Robinson and Cheryl Swoops, and they were talking about how this is a common thing. And I feel bad for Sanano because she just got drafted, and she's hoping to have a career, and then she gets cut. And then I heard Sabrina Merchant talking about on the Lakers Lounge pod with Anthony Irwin, talking about that the rosters are only like 12 players or something like that, and that's crazy. I mean, what if you get sick? What if they catch COVID or there's injuries and you get to be down 4 players, and then you're kind of screwed. And they don't really have I mean, other than signing free agents, there's not really a way to there's not like a G League. So I think that's an issue. I think you should expand rosters so that more women can have an opportunity, especially like somebody who's a high draft pick coming out of college. You would like to at least stay on the team that you were drafted for at least a couple years, see what you got, see if you can play. So I think they need probably like a G League type league, development league, and also expand the rosters. And I mean, I've been hearing that there's more money that's going into these teams. The evaluations of these teams are going up, these WNBA teams. So I think that's something that needs to happen quick, because that's kind of silly. I mean, it doesn't happen in the NBA. You don't see draft picks getting cut just for no reason other than we can't afford you, and goodbye. That's not cool. So that's what I think needs to happen, and then also get a G League development system. I don't believe that they have that. That's something that they need to do as they grow this league. I know that things don't happen so quickly. The league's been around since 1997, but that's something that definitely needs to happen. Yeah, doing some quick research right here. Yeah, they don't have a development league for the women. It looks like they used to have it. That's also something that they should look into getting to, so they can fill the team in case there's injuries or sickness or something like that. So that's what they should do, and there's also more changes they should do as far as expand the league. I heard Sabrina Merchant on that same pod saying that they're talking about expanding the league, but they're pushing it back and so on and stuff like that. And I know they don't want these teams to fold. That happened to the Houston Comets. One of the teams that folded isn't existing anymore. But they definitely should expand, because if they expand the rosters, that would give these college players opportunity to play in the W. And also, if they had more teams available to draft, be able to draft players, that also wouldn't happen. So, I mean, right now there's let me see how many teams. There's not that many teams at all. I mean, the ideal number. I mean, the NBA right now is 30, and they might expand to 30. They may expand to 32. So I mean, ideally, you would probably want like 32. Right now, they're at 12 teams. They need to expand, and especially in the major markets and the same cities as NBA cities would be ideal. I mean, it's good that they have a Seattle team because Seattle really loves basketball and they miss the Supersonics. And I know basketball's huge in the Northwest, and it's good that they have a team in Vegas. Those are the two teams that the NBA wants to go to, probably. That's been rumored, but they need more teams than 12. 12 is not enough to fill the league and keep players that deserve to be playing professional basketball in America. Because I know they're being paid overseas more, and that's why a lot of these ladies still go play overseas. But they need to expand the rosters, and expand the teams, and expand the league, and I think that would be beneficial for them long term. How soon that's going to happen, I don't know. And also, speaking of like what's best for the league and its players, there was an incident where Brittany Griner and the Phoenix Mercury were harassed when traveling. Excuse me. They were traveling on the road to play a road game, and some guy that was politically extremist. Apparently he was conservative, but his politics don't matter. What matters is that he was out of line, attacking these ladies and yelling at them and obscenities and stuff like that. But the Mercury seemed like they didn't have security for Brittany Griner and the team, and that's a problem. They need security. Plus, I heard that they were going to have charter flights for Brittany Griner this season because she's a special case. You knew that she was going to go into this season possibly being susceptible to things like this, since it was such a news story of her being detained in Russia for bringing drugs and stuff like that. And obviously she shouldn't have brought that over there, but she shouldn't have been kept over there and used as a political pawn. So I'm happy that she's back, but she needs to be protected and kept safe. And not only her, but all these players need to be protected and kept safe, because there's always going to be concerns like this. And I saw that the New York Liberty tweeted out, not everybody has security like this. They need to have security, and they need to work towards getting these players on the WNBA some charter flights so that they can keep them safe, because they're just trying to go to work. That's what Cheryl Swoops was saying. Like, these women are just trying to go to work, just trying to go on the road. It's like a work trip, basically, and their safety should not be compromised. That should be the number one priority. I saw the WNBA tweet that it's the number one priority. If it's the number one priority, then get them. They shouldn't be flying commercially, and if they are, at least provide them with the best security available, because it's very important. And obviously, you don't want things like this where they're getting harassed. And unfortunately, that guy, whatever his name is, I'm not gonna give him any kind of shout out. I'm not gonna mention his name, because I'm not gonna give him any kind of clout for his behavior. But he unfortunately wasn't committing any crimes. He was just harassing, which you would think would possibly be a crime. But apparently it wasn't against the law. So we need better security for these players, and they need to be able to have private flights. And in other news, the Dodgers have been struggling recently. They were losing some series, but thankfully they won last night against the White Sox, and they won that series. So hopefully things are on the up and up. Hopefully things are moving up for the boys in blue. They have been struggling because of injuries with pitchers. Still waiting for Urias to come back. He's supposed to be coming back the end of June. That's in a couple weeks. And Walker Buehler keeps saying he's going to be available in September. That would be amazing, but he's probably going to be coming out of the bullpen. And then we'll see if Dustin May is able to come back. Hopefully he's able to come back, but it's still uncertain if he's going to be coming back this season. So the Dodgers are at a point where it's kind of soon to be making trades. People are still trying to GMs are still trying to figure out their teams right now in baseball and what they want to do moving forward. But they need to make some trades. They need to find some bullpen pitchers because the bullpen is really struggling this year. So we need some relievers, and another starter would be nice as well. I know that they kind of want to keep their trade assets if Ohtani becomes available, but also you could always sign Ohtani in the offseason. Excuse me. I'm kind of torn. I really want Shohei Ohtani. He's an excellent player. He's a unicorn. He's the second generation. He's the next generation Babe Ruth, but even better. He's a slugger. He's a great pitcher. But I also don't want to lose the great assets that we have available. And also, like I said, we need pitching help right now. But Ohtani is a game changer, so I wouldn't want to give up. I wouldn't want to get rid of all our assets, but at the same time, I would want him to get settled in with the Dodgers and want to choose them. So either way, I hope the Dodgers get him in the offseason. Please, Ohtani, please sign with the Dodgers. We're a loyal fan base, and we would love you, and they would treat you really great, and you would look great in blue, trust me. And so the next series coming up for the Dodgers is the San Francisco hated Giants. We're playing them starting tonight, and that's important because we're only 2.5 games up from them. We're in second and they're in third, and so this is a very important series to win right now. I know we're still in June, it's still early on in the season, but it's very important to win and keep our position right now, and we need to catch surprisingly, the Diamondbacks are in first place. Never thought I'd say that, but they got a young roster. They're looking really good. So we are 2 games back from the Diamondbacks. So got to keep winning, and got to win against the Giants today. And the next story that I want to talk about is not an easy story to talk about, but I felt like it was really important that I address it. Olympic gold medalist Tori Bowie has died recently, and she was only 32. And my thoughts and prayers are with her family and friends. And it was she died of complications due to eclampsia and respiratory issues. And obviously, this is tragic, and you never want that to happen. You never want to lose, if you're her family, obviously you never want to lose her. But it's tragic because she died while she was trying to give birth, and complications do happen. They can be rare. They sometimes happen, but the reason why it is very concerning, and I wanted to bring it up, is because she was a African American, she was a Black American, and unfortunately, Black women are 3 times as likely to die from childbirth complications in America today. And this is highly concerning, and I think that it's another example of inequality in our country, and frankly, it shouldn't be. And I've seen multiple stories over the last couple of years of how 3 times as likely. That's terrible. Like, I want to stress, 3 times as likely as anyone else. As a white woman, a Black woman has 3 times likely the chance to die in labor or die due to pregnancy complications, and that's just unacceptable. Every person, regardless of ethnicity, color, or gender, should be receiving the highest medical care in this country, plain and simple. And I wanted to bring that up because that is a stat, and that's real, and that shouldn't happen anymore. And I don't know if it was specifically this happened in Tori Bowie's case, whereas because she was a Black woman, but it's another example. And why are these numbers so disproportionate? So there's so many of these numbers, right, that show us that people are not being treated equally, and medical care is important. Everybody should have the chance to live, to survive, to heal up. And so I just really wanted to mention that, and mention that for us to be aware, and that we can, you know, hopefully soon we can stop letting that happen. Like, everybody should have the same amount of chance to live, and to be able to recover, and to be able to survive childbirth. Like, there are cases where women do unfortunately aren't able to make it, or you're concerned about the baby, or you're concerned about the mom, but it shouldn't be disproportionate. I think everybody should have the same chance. Everybody should have the same amount of medical care. So I wanted to bring that up because I think it's important. I think it's important, as you know, as a country like America, everybody should have the same freedoms, the same right, and the same privileges, and the same amount of care, the same amount of medical care, and the same liberties. You know, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and that includes being treated equally and fairly in the hospital. And there's no other reason not to. There's no excuse for that. There's no excuse not to be treated fairly or equally in any reason, especially medical care. So I really wanted to mention that, and again, I'll be praying for Tori Bowie and her family, and I hope that this that trend can be stopped and fixed to where everyone receives the same amount of medical care. So all right, so I'm glad we talked about that. So it's also not easy to transition out of that. So today's NBA news, there's a lot of NBA news that dropped. Morant has been suspended 25 games, and the conduct has been called detrimental conduct to the league. And I've seen varying opinions of this on Twitter and online. And so I think 25 games is a little light. I was expecting maybe 30 to 40, so it's a little bit less than that. It's a little bit less than that, but it is conduct that's detrimental to the league, because he's a young star, and he's a role model, and people look up to him. So he shouldn't be out here flashing a gun on Instagram Live. And if you don't know, that's why he was suspended, because he was flashing a gun. And it's the second time. He got suspended 8 games, basically 8 games, and then he's been suspended a second time for 30 games. And yes, people have guns. So in my opinion, just getting back to Morant, yes, he's 23 years old, but this comes with it. You know, not only are you a superstar, and you know, there's a lot of pressure facing these guys, and they sign big contracts and things like that. But it's just very immature behavior, and it's not smart. And I don't know if it's the people around Ja or if it's him. You know, there was speculation that he was getting in a fight with somebody that worked at Finish Line, and just so many immature things that are coming out about him. But these are the 2 things that we've seen. We've seen video of him flashing a gun on Instagram, and I just think in a country where mass shootings are happening all the time, it should not happen. You don't, if you're a star player doing this. And quite frankly, you know, they just got eliminated from the playoffs. They just got beat by the Lakers, and it shows that they need maturity. They need these. He needs his family and friends and his coaches, and he needs some more veteran teammates to come around him and tell him, like, hey man, you need to. And I see that he's saying his mental health, and that's good. You know, he needs to get counseling from qualified counselors and get to a point where he's not doing this kind of destructive behavior, because he's really only punishing himself. And it's a bad look for the league. And so I saw some people talk about, you know, well, why is it okay for, you know, that one white politician, he had a Christmas card where his whole family's holding guns, especially his young kids. It's not okay. Nobody should glorify gun use like that, or being reckless. Like, I understand if you're a gun owner, I understand if you have guns, but nobody should be just like waving a gun around like it's a toy, because it's not a toy. It's a weapon to kill someone. It's a weapon where, and what if Ja was playing around with a gun on Instagram and shot himself or shot somebody else? Then you have an entirely more serious situation, and that's not what happened here. But what did happen here is that he's playing around with a gun when it's not a toy. It's not something that he should be doing. And nobody should recklessly play with a gun, especially in a party atmosphere where it looks like, Ja may have been drinking or something like that. And that's fine if you want to party, but you should never mix guns with alcohol either. And to me, it's just a bad look. I think it is detrimental to the league. But I did see another tweet from a writer, Katie Heindel. I did see another tweet saying that Miles Bridges got about 30 games, and then actually if he signs with a team, and Miles Bridges was arrested for domestic violence, and that, I totally see that point, that it's not the same, and he got 30 games and he's really going to only have to serve 10 games because he missed all of last year. So with these are private organizations, and yeah, they don't always get it right. And I'm not a fan of I did like Adam Silver, but I do feel like it was kind of a weak suspension on Ja, and that is a weak suspension on Miles Bridges. And they were kind of a little weak with Kyrie Irving's punishment for him tweeting out that hate video, and so they don't always get these right. And they need to work on that. But overall, Miles Bridges should have got punished more games and been suspended more games, and so did Ja Morant, but domestic violence is way worse than what Ja was doing. I mean, they're both bad, but Miles Bridges was arrested, and it just can get very tricky when you're handing out these punishments. But I think that we need to be careful as a people where we're like pointing fingers. Well, what about this and what about that? I think we just need to be careful as Americans where we're pointing fingers, because with the Ja situation, as I mentioned, there's mass shootings every other day. So we shouldn't. I don't think that players, no matter how old they are, should be reckless playing with guns or glorify partying and flashing and waving around guns, because mass shootings happen every day, and if something tragic did happen, then it's just a bad look. And I totally, as I mentioned earlier, I support equality. I don't think that anybody should be recklessly playing around with guns, because they're a weapon to kill, and I respect it if somebody wants to have a gun to protect themselves, but it's not something that should be waved around like a party toy. It's not a party favor. It's something that can absolutely injure somebody, and I just think that it was reckless behavior on the part of Ja, and he has to learn from this. I mean, it's silly. Like, he's already lost himself some money from missed games and stuff like that, and he's doing it again. And I saw his apology, but you can't help but think that his apology is empty and hollow when he did it in March, and then he did the same thing again in May, just a couple months later. So he really does need some sort of help, and I don't know if it's the people around him or if it's him, but he does need to grow and mature from this. And I know it's tough as a young guy to be in such a position of leadership and have all this money and things like that. But he really needs people to surround him and support him, and he needs to now stick to what he's word. Now he needs to stick to his word and apologizing and saying that he's going to change and move on and do better. So he has to now put in the work to do that. I mean, instead of waving guns around, he should be working on his jump shot. He's not a good three-point shooter. To bring it back to the court, he's a really good athlete, but he's not a good three-point shooter. Work on your jump shot. You should be working on that rather than getting in trouble being silly with guns and stuff like that. I just think, to me, it's very important to not be recklessly playing with guns. Period. It's dangerous, and it's dangerous, and I do see how they could say it's a detrimental look to the league. Anybody doing anything that could be harmful to people as far as influence or when you commit a crime, that all those things are detrimental to the league. And I think this is detrimental to the league because what if a young kid does grab a gun and starts waving it around and wants to be like Ja? That's not the influence that you want to put out there as a young athlete. And other news came out was that Michael Jordan is selling his majority stake in the Hornets, and I saw that J. Cole is going to be part owner. Good for him. Good for him. So Michael Jordan is going to stay on as a minority owner, but he's going to sell his majority stake. I have never heard of the guys that are buying the team, but hopefully, I mean that's good for the. Hopefully, that's positive for the Hornets. Michael Jordan has not been successful as an owner. His teams have consistently been bad or mediocre. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how that helps. Hopefully, it does. Sometimes new ownership can be good for an organization. And now there's rumors coming out too, like Zion potentially being traded to Portland for the number 3 draft pick overall in this year's draft. And then I saw, but Real GM was saying that I think it was Real GM was reporting about how Givney from ESPN said on Zach Lowe's pod that there is not a chance that they're going to trade Zion. Zion's another one where he has a different type of immaturity where it sucks that he's not staying healthy, but then when he is injured, he's not staying in shape where he needs to be watching his nutrition and when your job is to be in the best, to be an athlete, to be in the best shape possible, and you're not doing that, that's showing immaturity or a lack of dedication to your craft, to your job. So hopefully he can. I can understand why they might consider trading Zion, but they're not at this point. But hopefully he can stay in shape and try to do everything he can to stay healthy. I've seen all kinds of rumors how he's not close with anybody at the Pelicans, and he was close with he was close with somebody, but they recently let her go. I just think that the Pelicans got to do a better job, but also he's 22. He's similar age to Ja, and he just has some growing up to do, and that's why I hope he's ready to be a father. And we saw, I'm not going to go into detail about how he had a side chick and stuff like that, but to each their own how you want to live. I don't condone people cheating on their significant others, but when that stuff is spilling over to your personal life, where if you're not disciplined when your personal life is spilling over to your career, to your job, that's an issue that hopefully he can, like, in a different way, similarly to Ja, hopefully he can get some good advice and just stay in shape and try to stay focused on being the best he can be. But apparently a trade is not happening for Zion to Portland. But it's silly season right now. The trade rumors are going to keep coming. Dame Lillard was talking about last week about, if I wanted to get traded, I want to go here, this and that. I'm just going to say quickly, no, he's not getting traded. I'm pretty sure he's not going to get traded. I think he wants out, but he doesn't want to be the one to break up. So, I don't know. It's a lot of talk until it happens. I don't see it happening. And then Bradley Beal, but that is a trade that might happen. The problem being is that he makes like $50 million, so that's a very high salary. So it would have to be a winning team that could possibly afford it. I've seen people throw out like the Warriors. That would be interesting. But apparently his agent is talking to the Bucks and the Heat. I could see those potentially happening, and the Knicks as well. But I don't know. That's a huge contract, so it would have to be a team that would want to be all in on winning, and again, be able to afford that with this new CBA coming in and people not wanting to go over the front office is not wanting to go over that $190 million cap, because that second apron is really stringent. Maybe Philly would be interested as well if Harden leaves. But Bradley Beal's a great player, but he makes a lot of money, and he's had a lot of injury issues lately, and that is that is worrisome. So I wouldn't want the Lakers. The Lakers probably can't package a deal for him, but I wouldn't want them to go for it because, as I've said before on the show, I want the Lakers to keep LeBron and AD and bolster the depth around them, keep Austin Reeves, keep Rui, and try to improve around them as well as keep Vando and whatever type of improvements they can make around that roster. So that's it. I tried to get through a lot as fast as I could. Thanks for tuning in. Please like and subscribe. Shoot a comment if you want to talk about anything in particular. And as always, peace, love, and God bless. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Thanks.